Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and to celebrate the release of Neon Dynasty once again, we're jumping back in, and this time we're going to be playing a format we haven't touched in quite a little bit of time. We're going to be jumping into some Standard. Figured we'd check out Standard, you know, while it's nice and fresh, and then maybe we'll move back to Alchemy afterwards, once maybe the Alchemy cards come out, something like that. I haven't decided yet, because I do still very much love Alchemy, and there's really no reason to abandon it just because a new set came out. But, you know, either way, we're going to be playing some Standard today, and we're going to be playing around with a card that I truly love deep in my heart. It's kind of an Enchantressy style thing, which is an archetype that I love. 4-mana enchantment, Hallowed Haunting. This enchantment says, as long as you control 7 or more enchantments, creatures you control have flying and vigilance, and whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you create a white spirit cleric creature token with this creature's power and toughness equal to the number of spirits you control. So it's pretty sweet. It's basically in our deck. It's +1/+1 for each creature you control. So these guys get progressively bigger and bigger and bigger for the amount of enchantments you cast. And once you get to 7, those tokens then fly over the top for your opponent and smash, and also get to hold back for blocking as well if you don't immediately smash. So the reason why we're playing this Crimson Vow card that we haven't played yet is because we got some Neon Dynasty cards that work very well with it. Neon Dynasty has quite an enchantment focus, in fact, so we're going to be working on that a little bit. The main reason we are going to be trying it is for Doge here. Such Wow, big Spirited Companion. 2-mana 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, it draws a card. It is an enchantment creature because it's just beautiful. She formed a friendship with several playful spirits, and soon the pack was known as the source of much mischief in Iganjo. There you go. Need I say more? Moving on. But yeah, it's a redraw in this deck. It's also an enchantment to trigger the Hallowed Haunting. The thing that this deck kind of struggles with is card advantage and digging to the Hallowed Haunting. So to be able to get a card like Spirited Companion is absolutely huge. And it also synergizes well with the rest of the deck. Speaking of synergy, we got the Restoration of Iganjo, a 3-mana saga. This one, on its Chapter 1, searches for a basic plains and puts it into your hand. So if you're missing your land drop, you can make your play that way. Chapter 2 says you may discard a card, and when you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So an important note, something that I forgot, is if you want to do the reanimation on that too, you have to discard. I do have a game where I already have a 2-mana value target in my graveyard that I have every intention of returning, but I believed that the may discard a card part was optional, and it certainly is, but it's not optional if you want to reanimate. So you're going to have to discard a card out of your hand if you want to get something back. So, I mean, if you've got a dead card later in the game, you can discard that dead card and reanimate Spirited Companion. You could also get the Rune of Sustenance or even the Circle of Confinement to get a little bit of creature removal. So you can either get removal or you can get a redraw, which is quite nice. You can also get back Meat Hut Massacre, but the likelihood is if Meat Hut Massacre's in your graveyard, it's because you've Legend ruled it before, so an X0 Meat Hut Massacre's not going to do anything, especially considering Hallowed Haunting is a cast trigger, so it has to come out of your hand in order to get your spirit token. But yeah, after that, it comes back on the Chapter 3 as a 3/4 with Vigilance that attacks and blocks and creates a 1/1 colorless spirit token. It's basically a Brimaz, but bad. I love Brimaz. He was my first ever mythic I opened. So yeah, I like this card. Maybe I have a sweet spot for it because it looks like Brimaz, but bad. The next Neon Dynasty card is Touch of the Spirit Realm. 3-mana enchantment. It is basically a Banishing Light, but it only hits artifacts and creatures until the card leaves the battlefield, but it does have an added little bonus here, which is really nice. You can, for 2 mana, discard Touch of the Spirit Realm to exile a target artifact or creature and return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So what you can actually do is you can flicker your Spirited Companions. So if you don't need this Banishing Light effect, you can redraw a companion that's already in play, or you can block and channel in order to get a free block, and then the companion comes back on your end step Also allows you to dodge board wipes as well. In response to a Doomscar, you can flicker your Spirited Companion and get that redraw on their end step. So there's a lot of utility here. We're really just running it because it is a removal spell. Something this deck really needs is to basically answer everything your opponent plays all the way up the curve until it gets to Hallowed Haunting. Because once the Haunting's in play and you're just playing enchantments every single turn, you'll win the game relatively quickly, but until then you are at risk of dying constantly. So having answers all the way up the curve for your opponent's spells is really important. And so having Touch of the Spirit Realm in here is exactly the reason for that to be the case. So yeah, you've got removal for 3 or less mana value on 2-drops. You've got artifact and creature removal here. You've got any removal here with Borrowed Time. And then you've just got a sweep of the entire board here as early as turn 3 with the Doomscar. We also have Sigarda's Splendor. As we've mentioned, we've got a little bit of a card advantage problem with this deck. Mono White doesn't really have that many good cards that draw cards that synergize with the deck. Same for the black side as well. We don't really like Village Rites or anything like that, and that's kind of like the best way to card advantage in black right now. We just don't have early game creatures that are worth Village Ritesing a lot of the time, especially considering our game plan is to sweep the board consistently with 8 board wipes. So we're going to use Sigarda's Splendor instead. It's an enchantment. It enters and notes your life total. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card if your life total is the same or if it's greater than when you started your turn previously, and then it notes your life total again. And whenever you cast a white spell, you gain 1 life. Our entire deck, other than Meat Hut Massacre, is white, so every single card we play will gain us 1 life, hopefully taking us over that threshold to draw 2 cards a turn with Sigarda's Splendor, which is a wonderful effect. Finally, Wedding Announcement is a 3-mana enchantment, another source of card advantage, not a great one, but it does pump out 1/1s, and eventually on the 3rd counter turns into a Lord effect for all of your creatures, which again late game is really good for Hallowed Haunting. It means your spirits default to being 2/2s on their own, which is nice. But yeah, if you attack with 2 or more creatures with a Wedding Announcement out, you're going to draw a card instead of making a 1/1, so that's kind of nice. So if you're already ahead, then you don't need to be more ahead, you can just fill your hand with nonsense digging towards the Hallowed Haunting. But yeah, that's the deck. Actually, we've got a new card. The last new card, Eiganjo, Seat of the Empire, a legendary land, so you can't run too many of them, but we are running 2 of them. The first one's always free. I think you will end up crafting at least 1 of these of every colour, because the first one's always free. If you don't legend rule or have the legend rule problem, then you should be running at least 1 of these, because it gets to channel, and for 3 mana, you can discard it and deal 4 damage to an attacking or blocking creature. So it's a removal spell in your mana base that can't be countered. It gets cost reduction for each legendary creature we control, which is irrelevant. So it's just going to be a 3 mana deal 4 to an attacking or blocking creature, but having that in your mana base is super useful. We are going to run 2 though, because we are basically a control deck. We do kind of want this effect. The first one we can play as a land without much worry there, and we can channel it if we really need to, so it's quite nice there. But yeah, something to be aware of is that you do have a land that cares about itself being played. But yeah, the first one's free. You should always run at least 1 of them. The black one in our deck just doesn't really do anything, so that's why I'm not running it. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. This deck has been really good for me. It's got a decent win rate, so if you do want to check it out, you're not going to do too badly. I am still just like in gold ranking, so that could be something to do with it. And also bear in mind that this is a new set release, so a lot of the format is going to be aggro creature-based decks, which I don't know if you've noticed we're quite teched against, so it's possible that over time this deck gets worse as the control decks start filtering back into the format again, but for now it's an easy win to do your dailies with. So yeah, enjoy today's video, like and subscribe if I haven't mentioned it already, and enjoy the gameplay. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description.
With all that said, let's get into the gameplay.
Alrighty, we play first. We've got, I guess, what you would call an aggressive hand. I'm going to keep this one. Ooh, the new board. Whoa. Wow. Ooh-wee. Doesn't this just look like Legends of Runeterra? So I don't really have a problem with that, personally. I think Arena should look a lot like Legends of Runeterra, if we're being honest. Uh-oh. Deserted Beach. Well, I'm going to be glad that my hand looks a little bit more aggressive for what appears to be like a blue-white control deck. Oh. It's a creature deck. Ingenious Smith. So this is probably like a vehicles list. Saw one of these on Twitters the other day. I have no idea if it's good or not, though. Opponent's got a portable hull. Well, I'll just go with the wedding announcement here. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to trade if you want to trade. Didn't think so. 3 mana for our opponent, a Smith, and then the portable hull will boost them both. Very nice. Moonsnare Prototype. So I believe this deck has access to a 2 mana counterspell. So I need to be concerned about that a little bit. I'm not entirely certain. Oh, wow. That's a top deck. I should probably answer this board while I still can. A swing for 1. It's going away anyway. See if our opponent takes the bait. Dang it. I actually miss out on a point of damage by checking if they'll take that, so maybe I shouldn't have bothered at all, but I was just curious if I could get an extra point in. Gain a little bit of life, get a token back. Land for our opponent. So yeah, I was thinking Meteor Massacre has to probably be cast there, because if I don't, another artifact enters and they become 3/3s, and then suddenly Massacre looks a little less likely to do anything good. But if I wait and my opponent gets to untap, my Hallowed Haunting might not resolve. But it looks like my concerns are not an issue. I am just going to play my land drops here. I think it's important that I can play as many spells on a turn as possible. Let's keep Teferi in check. And get 2/2s. So now I have cast triggers, so the counter spells are less of a concern. One's got a Doomscar. Honestly, don't care. If anything, I think that actually just helps me, because they're tapped out and I can resolve something, maybe. This can only add mana of the colourless variety, and the counterspell I'm thinking of is a 2 blue counterspell. Another Hallowed Haunting. I think we go full greed here. Now, there is a concern that they get to the 7 loyalty on Teferi and win the game, so I think it's important, while I still can, that I hit Teferi every single opportunity I get. Because as much as I think I could probably beat Teferi's ult, I don't really want to find out. So the new Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh. First activated ability of an artifact costs 2 less to activate, is a passive. You get to draw 2 cards unless you discard an artifact. Undiscard unless you draw blah 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 blah. The -2 turns an artifact into a vehicle, 4/4. Another Hallowed Haunting. Well, now they have the counterspell. Do I just bait it with, like, Spirited Companion, get my guaranteed value, potentially a land, hit a Hallowed Haunting? Possibly even just go, like, Sigarda Splendor? I guess at this stage in the game, it's not really a blowout to have this be countered. And I will just win extremely quickly if I get to untap with this. Oh, baby. Alright. Kill you. Well, attack you. So now every enchantment gets us 3 spirits a turn. Our opponent desperately digging for an answer to this board state. Really hope they don't find the farewell card. The one that can exile all creatures, exile all enchantments. That would be brutal, and I would concede immediately. So yeah, don't do that. What does Tezzeret ult at? Ults at 6. Whenever an artifact becomes tapped, draw a card. I like this card, it's just so restrictive. It's only going to go in like one deck in Standard. But to be honest, it's kind of how I feel that most Planeswalkers should be. I don't think they should really be that flexible that they can go in any deck. I think they should have like a game plan that they want you to work towards. A quest to complete, if you will. And if you complete said quest, you get rewarded. Similar to like alternative win cons in Magic the Gathering that say, do X thing, if you do X thing, we'll give you this substantial reward. Alright, opponent's going to make a 4-4. I guess they're hoping that that will help them somehow. I'm going to go with Spirited Companion to start. Get 3 tokens. Tis an enchantment. So it counts towards my costs, and then we're going to go Restoration after that. And then if that resolves, that puts us on exactly enough for flying and vigilance, right? 7? Is it 7? Yes, it's 7. So yeah, that's 1, 4, 5, 6. This would be 7. I get 3 more tokens off of this as well. So these guys are 10/10s. Actually, no, no, this is not a spirit dog. Why is Spirited Companion not a spirit dog? I ask you this. Yeah, they're 10/10s. So 30 damage going over the top. I think at that point when I'm threatening lethal, I probably do try and go for their life total, because none of these are threatening to ult. And they do have board wipes in their deck, so yeah. Pretty sweet deck from our opponent. I'm sure we'll play that one eventually. And yeah, on to the next one. Okay, we go first. It's a bit of a slow hand, but it is a turn 3 Doomscar to make up for it. So I'm going to keep this one. Lead with Snarl, into Pathway, into Sanctum. Foretelling on to... Got to imagine that the start of every new set release is usually just like aggro central, so... Got to imagine double board wipe in my hand is going to get the job done here. If it doesn't, I suppose Borrowed Time could do some stuff anyway. Yeah, I think if it was like double Meat Hut Massacre in my hand, I might have considered throwing it back. Mostly because this gets better later. But this is just a clean sweep if it's like mono green. I don't have to worry about the power and toughness of our opponent's creatures here. I can just say goodbye and move on with my life. And Borrowed Time, I guess, is kind of good at that. Getting rid of big old things. Other than like... the Uvenwald Oddity, which has haste and will get to hit me in the face. So it looks like it is going to be mono green. I've been playing a lot of Alchemy, so my my knowledge of mono green in Standard is a little bit shaky. I imagine it's mostly the same, except for this pack leader would have usually been the pup that gives vigilance and trample and a counter, I think, to the next creature played. This one gets a counter on it if you control a permanent with mana 4 out. Great. Excuse me, that's a Lotus Cobra? Is that common? Is this normal? Well, I have Meat Hook X1. I don't hate Miko X1, actually. I mean, it's not going to get better than this. The pack leader could also just get a counter later down the line. Hallowed Haunting is going to be completely uncontested, I think, in this matchup. Short of them having learn cards to go get Containment Breach or whatever it's called. Is there any learn cards in mono green? I feel like there's one that I might be missing. Alright, so we're at 20. So we're not in any rush to get rid of all Growth Troll. We might as well go with the Hallowed Haunting first so that we can get the Borrowed Time down and producing tokens. But if our opponent goes out wide here, then just a nice Doomscar to sweep would be nice. So I'd love to see another committed creature here rather than the level up. But you can't get everything you need. Another Hallowed Haunting. The greed. The greed. So if I went Hallowed Haunting, I could go Doomscar, Borrowed Time Ranger class next turn. Take 8 minimum. I think I'm dead if they have the Unnatural Growth though. So I should probably sweep. The 5 mana enchantment that doubles power and toughness during combat, I think would be putting me on 14, and then the ranger class would be the 15 to kill me there. So I think it's best not to be too greedy. Plus now the sweeper's out the way, I can commit to my original primary game plan of just filling the board with enchantments. Bearing in mind that, ooh, that's a good one, actually. Rather than, I think, getting greedy with Hallowed Haunting, I think I want to go for the 2-spell turn here of Borrowed Time, get rid of Oddity. Again, if we're playing around, like, Unnatural Growth, I really don't want this 5/5 Trampler doubling its power and toughness. So, let's see if they got the Snakeskin Veil here. Can't really play around it, so... Play Wedding Announcement, get another 1/1, get another 1/1. And off to the races here. Pretty soon my creatures will be as big, if not bigger, than our opponents. Kazandu Mammoth, alright. It's a 5/5 on a land drop. Could just Blizzard Roll away a spirit token here, though, if they wanted. I imagine they'd want to save it a little bit. Well, we're just going to play Hallowed Haunting, get another spirit. Boom. Field of Ruin to take care of the Lair of the Hydra, so there's no activations to worry about. And make another token. I guess we could have attacked for 6 there and drawn a card instead. I don't feel too concerned about this board state, though. Other than, I guess, the Unnatural Growth that we're worried about. Oh, God. Oh, come on. You can only play around it for so long. Well, I can block this entire board away, so... there is that, I suppose. I think I do want to just, like, 3/6/9 this and block there. And then end step, like, Field of Ruin the Lair of the Hydra to thin my deck. Get a little bit of a life gain buffer. No instant speed 1-drop spells other than Snakeskin Veil, which could be a reason not to crack the Field of Ruin here, but I am digging for, like, Borrowed Time anyway, so, like, hitting Unnatural Growth would be my target, I think, primarily. Touch of the Spirit Realm. Okay, well, this one only hits artifacts or creatures, so please, opponent, don't have Snakeskin Veil. Not that it would be a big deal if they did anyway. Sweet. Swing for 1. Wedding announcement does its thing, and now we got a little bit of a Lord effect now going on. No more tokens though, and no more card draw off the wedding enchantment. So they can level 3 their ranger class. So they can start playing off the top of their library, which means I need to close this game out quite quickly. We've got 3, 6 enchantments right now, so 1 more enchantment and I get to fly over the top. That's unfortunate. So got an 8-powered old growth troll over there. With trample. They could Blizzard Brawl like one of my tokens and then I can't kill it. Looks like that's what they're gonna do. Yeah. So now it's indestructible. They go down to 14. Can hit me down to 2. Well, 2's not 0, so I'm just trying to think how I win this game if I top deck an enchantment. I think I'm just going to take it. I think I win with a massive board presence, and, you know, what our opponent's doing isn't going to really change that too much. How's this going to work for me? I get a lot of 4/4s. And they've all got vigilance as well. So I get free attack here. Put them to 6. They've got... How's this work? It's beginning of each combat. Oh no, that's probably game, right? Because it's trampling. If it wasn't trampling, I think I'm okay. So 4, 8, 10 block, 6 block. Yeah, that is so annoying. Well, we played around our opponent's inevitable win con the best we could, and we went to -1 doing it. I don't think we could have played that any better. I think, I guess if we'd have drawn Doge, the redraw enchantment, that would have been 2 spirits there, redraw, and it could have hit us something, and obviously we just ended up having planes in our hand, but yeah, I think short of getting lucky on that last draw, we weren't going to win that, and our opponent obviously got lucky with their hasty creature. They really needed it to be a haste creature. I don't know if there's another card that would have done it. I guess another unnatural growth off the top would have worked for them. But yeah, such a shame. Really close game though, and that's a really good sign for this deck, since Mono Green is an exceptionally powerful deck in this format. To be able to go toe-to-toe with it and actually nearly win is pretty good. Alright, on to the next game. Alrighty then, we're in, and this hand is maybe the worst mana base of all time. It's got double Meat Hut Massacre, which could be good against like mono white. I can't keep this, right? This would be a terrible idea. No. Alright. Okay. Funny joke, deck. Funny joke. Cave of the Frost Dragon. Right, we got our first black source, and our opponent went with Cave, so could be mono white. I think. Do they run Cave? They probably don't, right? No, they do. This one does, at least. Alright, we'll keep the Eiganjo, because we got the restoration of Eiganjo here. And that's going to get me a basic plains. I can block the Sungold Sentinel in order to reanimate my Spirited Companion. Yeah, decides they don't want to do that. It's clever. Smart. I will put a plains into the graveyard, though, and reanimate it. Look at that. Mono white ramp. And, yeah, just get down the Cigarda Splendor, I suppose. Looking really good for us. By the way, Lion Slash, 2 mana 1/1. You can exile a card from a graveyard, and if it was a permanent, you put a 1/1 count. Wait, is this a bad idea? Exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent card, put a 1/1 counter on Lion Sash. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on Lion Sash. So, like, this is just practically a free block, right? I get my 3/4. Just a solid blocker that our opponent won't want to attack into, and if they do, there's an Igandra waiting for them. My life total 17. I could go up to 18 with a borrowed time on Lion Sash to keep the companion in my graveyard. I don't hate that. And we'll pass. So I guess I could have like Skyclave Apparition to hit the Architect, attack, and do their thing, but then I get to keep my Sigarda's Splendor around and my borrowed time. So I don't really hate that. There's a commit into my Meat Hut Massacre, so a Black Sauce off the top would be nice. No, okay. I can punish though with an Igandra killing the Apparition if they attack with that. Spellbinder can't hit Igandra, but now they know about it. So there's a taxed Meat Hut Massacre. Swing straight in knowing full well that I'm going to punish them. Sure. So kill the 2/2, get a 3/3. And just jump the Sentinel here. I think I'm happy for the trade, honestly. I don't particularly care, and we get to draw 2 cards a turn now. There's a Doomscar. This is me just redrawing, honestly. So I'll take that. No hasty white cards as far as I'm aware. Adelaine, I think, is the closest it comes to haste creatures, because it would make a token that's attacking. Alright, you can tax Meat Hut Massacre 2 of 4. 3 total. We've got Circle of Confinement and Spirited Companion. So I'm going to Companion. I am going to Confinement the Spellbinder, I think. What's the difference between Borrowed Time and Circle? How many 4-drops does our opponent have in their deck? I can't imagine there's any, right? So it doesn't make any difference other than tax purposes for Spellbinder? I guess this is creature only. I'm not sure what Borrowed Time would hit, but I guess I should also leave my options open. And I definitely want to remove it because I'm drawing 2 cards a turn by getting rid of our opponent's creatures, building up an enchantment board for Hallowed Haunting when that inevitably turns up. Our opponent cannot enable Cave in a meaningful way. Alright, I have found a good reason to hold Borrowed Time. Forgot that that card exists.
You are not much of a roadblock.
Alright, goodbye, Wandering Emperor.
Back to wandering.
Back to wandering indeed. Suppose I can get it back with a Skyclave Apparition. Lion Sash. I'm drawing 2 cards a turn still. Got a land for the cave. So I might as well play that. Have I even got anything? I've got nothing in my graveyard worth eating there. So let's just remove the Lion Sash. I am still looking for my Hallowed Haunting if that ever wants to turn up this year. I think the fact that we've got 3 board wipes though just really means I shouldn't be concerned about this matchup too much. They're just like, I'm 1-for-1ing, but like, that's fine for me as a control deck over their aggro deck that's run out of steam right now. They've put these Meat Hut Massacres into exile where they can't interact with them. Suits up the cave, unsuits up the cave, thins my deck. Well, I was going to say, should I get a swamp so that I could potentially double Meat Hut Massacre if that even mattered? Which, it sort of does. Alright, there's a Hallowed Haunting. Opponent sees my win con and packs it up. I guess that is all she wrote. But yeah, like, they play a creature, I'm happy just to board wipe it, and as I'm board wiping it, I'm sure I am probably creating tokens that are big enough to survive said board wipe. Because they'll 1-for-1, I'll go the touch, I'll get a 1-1, then I can X1 a Meat-Up Massacre, and then I've got 2/2/2s, and go from there. Like, I could 0 a Meat-Up Massacre at this stage, I think, without any concern whatsoever, so yeah, really, really solid position to be in. And on to the next one. Alrighty then, on the draw, we've got an untapped Snarl. Can you even mulligan a hand with an untapped Snarl? I ask you this. The answer is no. It's such an uncommon occurrence that it must happen. So yeah, we've got a nice little curved hand here anyway. Quandrix Campus makes me a little less confident, by the way. Look at that. Don't want them to know I've got a planes, because pro plays and all. Can we even do much against the Simic deck with these Meat-Up Massacres? That's going to be the interesting bit. I can hit a little ramp source with Circle of Confinement, and then Touch of the Spirit Realm can hit anything bigger, I suppose. Could even hit like a Celestus if they're using Artifact Ramp. And then I've got to imagine like Sigarda's Splendor will draw us a fair few cards in a matchup like this. What on earth are you doing with that in your deck? I can't even get rid of it. I can get rid of it on the Spirit God. I mean, if you're playing a card like that, that's how I look at you. You are a god among Magic players. Alright, let's go with Spirited Companion. Hollowed Haunting, fantastic. 4th land for that would be nice. Certainly going to be leading with the Hollowed Haunting. So I guess the cards we got to be concerned about. There's a Cosima. I can hit that with Circle and Confinement, right? 3 LS? 3 LS? It's probably a good time to hit it, I suppose, since I can't really do anything else relevant. Now, I really don't want to upset this Ringheart Crest, because I want to know what other gods you're going to be playing. You've got God Tribal over there. In Simic, of all things, as well. I would have expected, like, Gruul for Bard class, maybe, but... Simic gods. GHC. 10 out of 10 Magic player. Until they do something I don't like. So give it a minute. You're not a god. Does have a godlike level of skill, though. I'm just gonna have to... I guess I could go, like, Touch of the Spirit Realm channeled. Flicker my Spirited Companion, maybe? Try and find a land drop. It doesn't come back till the end step, though, is kind of the concern with that little line of play. So I could go Rune of Sustenance on one of my own lands. Reason being that our opponent could kill it in response to fizzle this out, or bounce it in response with Divide by 0. I'd rather just stick it on a land and get my redraw. Fantastic. Alright, and now I have the block and channel with the Touch of the Spirit Realm, which is quite nice. It's only does artifacts and creatures. Alright, so I'll take my free block here. I'm pretty happy not pretending I've got anything else. Especially considering Finn is a win con. Pretty substantial one. So if they want to divide it by 0 now, they can certainly go ahead and do so. It'll pretty much lead to the same outcome. I want 5 mana though, so give me 5 mana. Another companion. Who do we lead off with? Let's assume our opponent has an answer. What could they have? They could have Divide by 0, which I can't play around. They could have Juari's Disruption, which I can absolutely play around with any of my plays. Negate, can't play around it. Yeah, I think... I guess we've got Spell Pierce in the format now as well. I think since I got double Splendor, let's start with Splendor. And Goodest Boy will protect my life total. So that we can potentially get a double draw here. Maybe our opponent's got to divide by 0 now. I mean, if they've got any counters, I really want them out now, because Meat Hut Massacre X3 looks relevant. And it becomes easier to cast once there is a Quandrix command. Counter target enchantment spell. Bet that doesn't come up very often. Oh god. I guess it could come up a little bit. We've got like Binding the Old Gods, Celestus is a thing. That's in a Seeker, so a land would be nice, I guess. Am I blocking? I guess I am blocking. That was nice. So notably, they do have Quandrix command mana open. I think I'm just going to go with Spirited Companion to get my redraw. If they want to Quandrix command that, they absolutely can. Got my land drop, which is honestly the important part of this entire line of play. And then we got Circle of Confinement. And I think I'm taking care of a Seeker, because if they have another Seeker in their hand, then this is 2, 3, 4 colors. Oof. Come on, Doomscar. Where are you? Now I need you more than ever. A land drop would also be okay, because I get rid of Finn the Fangbearer. Mirror Box. Now I need Doomscar. Oh god, do these stack? I think these stack. Well, I'm blocking. We got the land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 mana off of double 4-drop spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can X5 and Meat Hut Massacre and get rid of 1 Finn. Or I could do Hollowed Haunting, make a blocker. Just do an X0, I guess. At least I can put stuff in the way of Finn, or try to. What a wild deck from our opponent. So yeah, this says whenever a creature with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. And I believe that means that it's 2 separate triggers because of each Finn. And obviously, Legendary is something that gets around that being a stackable effect. But Mirror Box, on the other hand, means that the Legend rule doesn't apply. Good lord. I love this card. I need to build around it in my own way at some point. Simic Legends wasn't really what I was thinking, though, when I originally thought about the idea of it. So what do we need here? Our opponent having their game crash and freeze and giving me a free turn goes a long way. Oh, but they're back. So I think I'm still just blocking because it is a lot of damage. Doomscar's the dream. I guess Spirited Companion redraws are okay. Yes, it absolutely does stack. Alright, we are dead very quickly. Unless we draw something good like that. Let's play around Spell Pierce for a start. Can't play around Quandrix command, so if they have the third, so be it. I guess getting rid of Mirror Box legend rules the Finn anyway. So I should get rid of that, because it's also a kind of a key part of their thing. Gets rid of a +1/+1 on their side. Then I could go Sigarda Splendor. We know that they couldn't answer the touch, but they did have something they could do. I'm just going to have to go Sigarda Splendor here, though, I think. Make another token. So at least I get something to do on my cast trigger if this card does answer, like Dwyer's Disruption. And then Meat Hook X5. Suddenly doesn't look terrible, but a land drop means Meat Hook X6 on a Seeker is good. We'd have to hope for no more Mirror Box. God, this card's cool. I love Legendary Tribal. It's kind of like, it's up there on archetypes that I absolutely adore. So I'm very happy that card's back in. Yeah, when Bard class got spoiled, I lost my mind. When Squee was playable, lost my mind. Seeing Mirror Box, allowing me to play extra legends. Chef's kiss. Come on, land. Come on, land. Definitely one blocking Finn. I'll take the other three, though. Just in case I don't get what I need here. Rude. That means I have to play my Meat Hook Massacre, right? Because I guess I block here and take 6. Go up to 6 poison counters, they need 10. So if they could answer my spirit token or have a haste creature, I lose. Otherwise, this is exactly enough to kill all the creatures. The thing is, they've got this, look at the top 6 for a legendary creature, which could be relevant. They can do that on combat. I don't think there's a flashing legend, so... yeah, I think they just need removal. One's a land. What's the last card? They could also now play the Prismatic Bridge side, I think. So I block here, I go to 1. Six poison counters. Kolvori will activate, presumably. Unless the last card in their hand is a countermeasure, like a Quandrix command, sorry. Doomscar. So Meat Up Massacre taps me out completely. We know that their deck runs a counter for it. We don't know about Doomscar having a counter. I think we Doomscar. Opponent can activate. They get to go see an extra card. I'm unsure why they didn't do this last turn, but maybe they were playing around a board wipe. They have seen a Meat Up Massacre from me already, I suppose, so... Makes a bit of sense there. Top 6 for a legendary. Looks like they've got options. They've either got loads of options or they've got no options and they're very upset. That is an Imarith. We can kill that. Doesn't have haste, so Sigarda Splendor's going to draw us a card here. Gain a little bit of life to stabilize. Up to 5. Meat Up Massacre and Sigarda Splendor. Quite the low combo. Not that you really need them to combo necessarily, but... it's nice to know you can get that little bit of life buffer here. Especially considering now I really need the life buffer. Okay. I can hit campuses with Field of Ruins, but other than that, there's no real, like, good use for them. They are out of Quandrix command right now. Quandrix command range. So I'm just gonna... I'm gonna X6 the Imarith, because they might have Snakeskin Veil, maybe. It doesn't let me play around Spell Pierce, so maybe I should just do an X7. Then I'm not playing around Dwari's Disruption. Do I think they're running Dwari's Disruption? I think the chances of them giving 2 counters is a lot less than them having Snakeskin Veil or like Spell Pierce here. Yeah, so this just resolved nice and easy. It's a shame we had to use it in such a manner, but bear in mind we are drawing 2 cards a turn at this stage, so like wasting a card as strong as Meat Massacre is less painful. I should probably have had an upkeep stop here to thin my deck. It didn't matter, but thinning my deck there would have been the smart play. It could have killed me, actually, in hindsight. Alright, so we get rid of Finn. I do want to hit the World Tree, because I know that their deck is full of gods. Let's grab a white sauce. Yeah, not hitting that would be a pretty huge mistake. Ooh, Old Gnawbone. Another Meat Massacre for us, though. And we're probably not going to need it because we've got the Restoration of Iganjo here. So we make another token that can block Gnawbone. I doubt they can give it Trample. We get our last planes out of our deck. Might as well play it. And we'll pass the turn. We are chump blocking Gnawbone. But then we're going to be getting Spirit Doge out of the graveyard. With the Chapter 2. Opponent goes to 14. We gain some life, so we draw 2 cards. Another Meat Hook. And a dead card. We do get to redraw. I'm going to decline here. Oh, wait. I was going to decline because I didn't need to discard to get my boy back, but... Oops. I guess you have to discard to get your boy back. Well, that's not ideal. Should I Meat Hook now, then? Since I'm not redrawing extra cards here, and I kind of don't want our opponent to be able to fight through this, so yeah, I think I'll just go for an X7 here. An X8. Still play around that Snakeskin Veil. Let's keep this one. Yeah, I mean, we're at the stage now where if we're drawing 2 cards a turn and our opponent's drawing 1, it's pretty easy for us to just use a board wipe as a 1-for-1 removal here. Hallowed Haunting and Iganjo. Got ourselves the Architect of Restoration, so we can start making spirits when it attacks or blocks. Let's play the Hallowed Haunting, gaining us some life. Play you, and... yeah, I mean, now I don't really have to take care of Imarith. If they attack through, I block and Iganjo it. They do get to draw on... oh god, that's a Vorinclex. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. I'll be honest. How do we want to tackle this? So this has to deal damage to me, so it's definitely getting blocked. It can definitely get killed with Iganjo. I guess I'm blocking here as well, because I'll just Meat Hook. Yeah, and in which case I don't need to use the Eiganjo. Vorinclex giving twice as many poison counters as well, I think, is a thing. So, swing for 1. Put them to 8. And then X6 this now. No cards in hand, so nothing to worry about. That one. Bit of draining, bit of gaining. Opponent's down to 5. Might as well play the Field of Ruin. Opponent draws seemingly nothing. We gain 2 life, so now we're drawing 2 cards a turn. Wedding Announcement's a good one. Eiganjo, maybe not so much, but it is an enchantment, so at the end of the day, an enchantment is perfectly fine. And, you know, it's going to put our opponent in a spot I don't think they can come back from. What a game. What a game. Our opponent's deck is sweet. It is full of, like, unplayable mythics, but, you know, you've got to lower your deck strength, I think, to have a little bit of fun from time to time. And Old Gnawbone's certainly the way to do it. I think I would only run Old Gnawbone if I had, like, Magda in my deck, which I guess kind of works with our opponent's list as well. Finn getting the double stack was kind of cool. Was it worth playing Mirror Box for? Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, the additional counters from Poison, from Vorinclex, getting had with Quandrix Command. Didn't see that one coming. Yeah, this was a sweet deck from our opponent. I really enjoyed it. And this deck was sweet as well. I recommend playing this one. I've got a really good win rate with it, honestly. I really wasn't expecting that, since it doesn't have the best card advantage in the world. But yeah, I think the additions to this deck are certainly really powerful and do quite a lot for us here. The Eiganjo giving us a little bit of removal just in a land drop that can't be countered is sweet. Having the Flicker to hit your Goodest Boy is also quite sweet. Having Goodest Boy be an enchantment that triggers Hallowed Haunting means that you can have a redraw in your deck that actually triggers with the Hallowed. It's all really good. There's a lot of synergy back into this deck now that Neon Dynasty's come out, so yeah, I do recommend this deck if you haven't yet played it. It does allow you to play the Hallowed Hauntings, which are mostly unplayable, but you know, I think for the most part, a lot of these cards are either playable rares and mythics, or they're just like commons and uncommons that you won't feel too sad about crafting, I don't think. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video anyway. I'm going to stop rambling here. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well if you have enjoyed the content. It helps out the channel a great deal and allows me to make further content that you may enjoy enough to like and subscribe to. And yeah, take care guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day.